Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto. Under 20, another day of doing it. That's just how we do it. Might be the same bathrobe, might be the same way of doing it, but it got me to maintenance. Yep, this bathrobe. Well, not really. Well, maybe. I don't know. I wear it in a lot of videos. I've got quite a few, as some of you have seen, but this seems to be the go and grab. Have any have any of you watched Dietland? It's definitely a chick series. I think it's on AMC, A&E, one of those two. Anyway, it stars this woman Plum who can't lose weight, and parts of it are just totally hysterical in that tragic comedy sense of any one of us who have lived a long life of trying to lose weight. She's quite interesting, and a man takes an interest in her. She doesn't attract too many men, but this one man does. But she has a side job of cake decorating, and she also writes and reviews for a magazine, I think, in their diet column or something like that. Anyway, it's got about 12 different themes going at the same time, which is okay if you just stay watching it. But it's kind of interesting when she's exercising one day and she lists all of the different diets that she's been on. And if you're like me, you've forgotten half of the ones that she mentions, but at the time they might have even been part of your life. So it's very, very interesting, and I guess more will be revealed. I watched the first, the premiere, which was a double episode. Anyway, it's just interesting. So, what? And this was funny because I was writing down a few things to have for different topics. And have you ever gone on the no whites food plan? So it'd be things like no white flour, no white products, which would be like cream and milk and, a lot of the dairy products, and things like no white potatoes. It's funny because when I worked with this woman, tiny, 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 don't think she even weighs 100 pounds today, never had a weight issue, but she was a foodie. And so she was fascinating as a friend because it's like, how could you eat what I eat and not gain weight? She's just one of those lucky ones. And we would have an all white night. So we would do the opposite of what somebody doing keto would have. We would have French fries or a baked potato with cheesecake for dessert, with milk with ice cubes in it to wash it all down. I mean, yeah, we worked at this restaurant, and after we were done serving, we would sit down and have our feast. It was just kind of funny because it was all white as opposed to this person giving up all whites. So that was fun. Did we get through that okay? All right. So I'm really bumming about the suicides, and they both kind of plague me in the little ways that things touch you. But I became very attracted to Anthony Bourdain as a chef because he wrote Kitchen Confidential, and I just love the cover of his book with that picture in his whites with the knife. It's just one of those that just stays with me. And he got his start in P-Town, and it was in the raucous, I think, 80s when I was tearing up P-Town as well with my drinking days, probably food days too. But it's when I was the wild child and he was down there. And I keep thinking about, like, maybe I was in one of the restaurants he was cooking in. I never watched his shows, Parts Unknown, because I just kind of kept him, in that little box of back then with the Kitchen Confidential. But he nailed restaurant work, and I always love restaurant work books. It's just something that's always fascinated me because I spent 35, well, till I was 30, no, till I was 45, I think, working in restaurants, and I always loved what went on in the kitchens, and then all the gangster movies, like Goodfellas, which I've seen 972 times, where he leads, where Ray Liotta leads his date, then wife, through all the back parts of the kitchen to get to that place where everybody's giving him the front seat and setting up the table for two. And I think it was Henny Youngman. Is that the right thing? But anyway, definitely that sense of humor that came out of north of New York City, and I can't think of that either. But anyways, it was funny. But I love the back parts of kitchens, and I used to love watching each chef develop their own style, and I used to love when they liked me, because then they fed me. So the topic for today is scale mentality. Do you have a scale mentality? I mean, it is so deeply ingrained in you that you don't even know that you have scale mentality. Is it all is your life, your happiness, your success, your feeling like moving on based on what the scale reads? Have you ever done that? Do you even know that you have it? Anybody that comes from the background that I come from, and if you're my age, you've got maybe decades of it, your entire life is based on what the scale reads. And for the first time in my life, I feel kind of free from it. I still use it as a gauge. Once a week, I weigh in Thursday mornings just to be transparent to myself as well as to you. And I post it just because I want to see that I'm sometimes it's with disbelief. It's like, how can I have this week of food that is so delicious, my OMADs, and how can I have this week of food that I never dreamed possible to be legal and keep me in maintenance and record the weight that I do? I had to really give up what that number said so long ago. And I work with lots of women who have that jump on the scale deal. And as I frequently say here, I want to develop that chip in the scale that if you get on that scale on the days that you're not supposed to, I automatically get $5 deducted from your checking account into my checking account. So there's finally a penalty that makes it worthwhile. So I would be uber rich. And I would buy out Uber. That's what I do. No, I would buy out the scale company. And it's just kind of funny how we let it dictate our lives. Like it's worn on our forehead in a Sharpie that's permanent, and it's like for all the world to see. And you know how it feels when you jump on the scale and it says you've had a loss. Well, sometimes instead of like, oh, that's great, I'm going to keep it that way, and you move on with your day, then you just keep hopping on, hoping for more. It's so insidious. Or if you've gained weight, then maybe you plug back into your program, get a little serious again, because sometimes we get a little loosey-goosey, especially on weekends, especially if your weekend begins Thursday afternoon and it ends Monday morning, right? That's a lot of days to go wonky with your keto, isn't it? So then you get serious again, and then you hop back on. Now, I know every spring I put on a couple of pounds just from humidity. And before keto, I used to be a beached whale. I can't believe what my stomach would do by the end of the day on a hot and humid day. And I definitely wasn't having all the salts that I'm having today, which might have helped. But I would drink lots of water. And of course, now I'm in that don't drink lots of water camp. I'm in the add more salts to what you do drink camp. And it was funny, last night I was not, the thought of having my 20-ounce glass of lemon water with salt in it, it just seemed like too much. It's like I didn't think I could fit it. And it's kind of funny. Maybe that's humidity working on the outside. So I did have half of a San Pellegrino small water, like I had like 8 ounces of it with the Celtic salt first, the crystals on my tongue. And that worked instead of having the 20 ounces. But it's just kind of funny. So I definitely, in this weather, in this humidity of summer, up your salts into the same amount of water that you drink. You may be surprised that you don't need that 150 ounces of water that you used to drink. And you may be surprised at how unbloated you feel. You feel like, okay, the electrolytes do their part. And I know that Tammy on Keto Chaos has suggests 5,000 milligrams of salt, as do others, but she really goes into it. She dives deep into it, and she even has this cute little gadget. I'm sure she got it from Amazon. And so she does her soul water, where she'll have a shot of that, and it's loaded with like 1,000 milligrams of salt. I prefer a heavy dose on my tongue, followed by a sparkling mineral water, and that works for me. But yeah, I don't overdo the water like I did probably last year. I wasn't as salt conscious or conscientious as I am now, but I'm glad I am. And yeah, I didn't like that feeling. And before I did keto, under 20, when I was just doing low carb, high fat, oh the my belly at the end of the day, it was embarrassing. Gone were the belts around my waist with my white starchy shirt and my khakis, my summer uniform. I couldn't because I was so bloated. And, it worked in the morning, but by the afternoon, it wasn't working. Crazy, huh? So if you have that scale mentality, I plead with you, I beg of you to put it aside and pull it out only once a week, especially with humidity and temperatures as hot as they are. It's just, it can torture you. And haven't you had years of torture? If you're having a keto food plan and you're tracking, weighing, measuring, and your calories are like, 1,500 calories every day, and you're getting that great ratio of fats, moderate to low protein, and very low carbs, that, that 3 pounds that the scale says isn't fat. It isn't permanent weight. It is just water retention. So why torture yourself? I just, because you're probably, have that scale mentality where everything on the scale is what matters. So if you can just try to withdraw from that, to try to deal with it. I've done other things on diet sodas or artificial sweeteners, but definitely the scale is something that it's like our dirty little secret. We say we're not using it that much, but there we are, hopping on it again. Don't torture yourself. Now, I know some people who are daily weighers and they go about their business. It's not like the addiction. This is for the people that are like me, that are hooked on it, or I was hooked. Now I'm once a week. But, it's a barometer. It's just like the rest of the stuff. And if you are tracking, weighing, and measuring, and you get on the scale and it says 3 or 4 pound gain, you know that if you're eating what you're saying you're eating, and your tracker says what you're eating, you know what I mean? It's like, it's truth everywhere. And then the scale is just a snapshot of where you are at that moment. So don't weigh yourself, get all ugly with yourself, and then start getting obsessed with it. It's like, when am I going to get rid of it? When am I going to get rid of it? Well, you'll get rid of it when it goes. But if you weigh yourself once a week, it gives your body a chance to do what it does, and you may be pleasantly surprised. But you have to match the food that you're having with what's in your tracker. And you have to put what you're eating in the tracker before you eat it. It's not in reverse. You don't eat and then put in your tracker. You weigh, measure, put it in your tracker, and then you enjoy the meal. It's taken care of, okay? So enjoy your day. I'm going to enjoy mine. I didn't hop on the scale today because it's not Thursday. So that's why that works. Have a wonderful day, my snowflakes, my pickles, and my turtles. I love a slow recovery because you get to learn along the way. And what you're learning, the fundamentals of you and your food journey, stay with you because it takes a while. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you the next time. Bye-bye for now.